all, welcome back once again. My name is Monica as we are working our way through the Creativity in Astrology series where I have taken your recommendations for people in the arts and I'm just breaking down their charts, showing you what to look for as a learning exercise, I suppose, for astrology, more so than it has anything to do with the actual people. I have picked out specific people, less than a handful, and I do want to show you their charts individually because they're quite interesting and very good learning opportunity. But until then, let's get into part 3. Musicians. I don't really know what to call it because these people they're good at writing songs, they're good at singing, they're good at playing, they're good at a bit of everything. So I've just narrowed it to musicians. We've covered a band at the first part. If you haven't seen it, go watch it because it's going to help you a lot with the basics. And then the second part was singers. So we're going to see some more crossover here. We still have to get through comedians, chefs, fashion designers, filmmakers, actresses, actors, and such, but let's get into it. All right. Creativity in Astrology, part 3, musicians. So what really matters? We've got, again, Mercury, the creator, Venus, the arts. We're going to look at the trinal houses. We're going to look at career houses because I have been pointing out, the importance of the first house of the self, the 7th house of other people and your work, the 10th house of status and possibly career. So, second and third of the voice and skill. There's a lot of cross. Most people who play will sing, and most people who sing will pick up an instrument at some point. So we always want to keep an eye out for that. And then our soul planet, our Atmakaraka. Okay, let's see. It's moon, is it Venus, is it Mercury? Even Jupiter can be quite helpful. So here we have, first example, we're going with John Mayer, all right? Very, very talented individual. I think I used his chart. I can't remember if I did. I think I used his chart in Success in Astrology video. Stunning chart for success, stunning chart for so many things. But let's check out creative talent. He can sing, he writes, he plays exceedingly well. My friend from guitar class when I was 14 took me to his concert. I think her mom got her tickets. And I just thought this person's like very, very amazing. And he's lost none of his charm musically. So he's an incredibly talented individual. Okay, we've got Mercury and Venus exchange. So now we're noticing a pattern. There's a lot of people that have Mercury and Venus exchanging houses. We saw it in the first example with the band. We saw it in lots of times in the example of singers, and here we have it again. Okay, excellent. We have third house moon of skill, expression, are the hands. Okay, the third house rules hands, arms, and shoulder blades. So he's very dexterous, he's very talented. Also, Mercury is the hands as well, and it's in the strongest house possible, right? It's in the first house. I also do want to make mention, I do find it funny that he's harshly hemmed. He's quite harshly hemmed between, he's definitely combust by the sun, but he's hemmed between sun and the north node. So he's going to get in trouble for things that he says in his lifetime. I think this should have worn off by one's early 40s, so he should be in the clear now. I think he's born in late 70s. But yeah, that's quite interesting. Anyways, third house moon, I mentioned. Second, 7th house lord is Mars in the 10th. Okay, second house of the voice, 7th house of trade. We have Mars in the 10th house of status, and Mars is strongest in the 10th house. And even though he's debilitated in Cancer, he's getting a lot of help from Jupiter. So I wouldn't even consider him completely debilitated. Let's say like 20% debilitated. And Mars is quite important for people who are in rock music or use electric guitar, like electric instruments, apps, actual equipment, so that's very, very nice. So it's going to help pull that chart along, help him loads. And Venus is the soul planet. Venus is the Atmakaraka, the artist, the arts, I should say, not the artist, but in the 12th house of inspiration, okay, imagination. So I think you probably, if the mood strikes, you always hear people, do you know whose chart I didn't mention last time? Hope Sandoval from Mazzy Star. She said that when her and David wrote the song Fade Into You, that they weren't trying to write a hit, it just kind of happened in like one day. So it's, if you see a lot of 12th house energy, it's usually people who just sort of unwittingly scribble something in like minutes, and then they don't even expect it to like do well, but it does very well because they're getting some help from like some energies. So it's very, very cool. Very nice chart. I'll definitely bring it up in the future for several examples. Many, many things ahead. Okay. Chuck Berry, I mean, just a cool, cool energy, cool chart. Okay. Saturn, Mercury, Mars aspect. Of course, this is quite electrifying, and we saw this with Venus and Moon in the first example with the band, also on the 1 and 7 axis from their moon chart, okay, their Chandra Lagna. So this is very nice, you know, definitely good for rock, okay, definitely good for expression, sort of like a bit of aggressiveness or some kind of like primal energy. It's very, very nice. And of course, third lord in the first is very nice for for expression, skill, and of course, if it's going to be Saturn, then clearly hard work, all right, very, very hard work. Saturn is also a soul planet, so very hardworking, diligent person type. Moon in the fifth in Pisces is amazing. Pisces is a very creative sign. So is Virgo. They're very, very creative. I would say Pisces. I mean, there's different types of creativity, but you know, there's Venusian is very nice. Libra is very nice. Virgo generally tends to give really nice aesthetic sense as well, just like Libra, quite organic or natural. Good at pairing colors. Pisces is imagination anyway, all right? Leo can be quite colorful, quite forward, but I wouldn't limit it there. I think everybody has some kind of talent, you know. Aquarius could be good for working with new things. Like I know we're entering a very Aquarian time, and I think we're going to have new genres of everything, okay? Especially like film and music, is because we use equipment to make those things. So just keep an eye out for very niche, cool things coming out in the future. Okay, Moon in the fifth, excellent. And Venus is strong. She's in her own sign and in that very, very spooky, unseen house, the 12th house. So inspiration reigns supreme. Absolute legend, icon, Rai Cooder, incredible guitarist. So when I hear guitarist, I immediately have to look to the third house, and I have to check if Mercury is involved for the hands. Third house, the hands again. Of course, in the sign of Pisces, I just mentioned creativity, imagination, and we have Mercury in the third, and we have Mars, which is really good for percussion instruments and electrical instruments, as mentioned previously. Fabulous, okay? And what did I say here? Voice and money. Yeah, Venus is in the house of voice and money. So that's a very, very good. Yes, yes, yes. Career, sun planet is there too. And Mercury's not combust. Okay, so that's excellent. And once again, we have seventh lord in the first. Are we seeing a pattern here between 1, 7, 10 and helping people become successful in life? So very, very nice chart. Dolly Parton, legend, icon, all good things. Writes, sings like an angel, writes like a poet, plays like a genius, acts, has charisma, has personality, cracks jokes, is insightful, is perceptive, is self-aware, is amusing, is talented, is everything, everything. So we've got, again, see, Virgo moon, quite common. Not sure what's up with that, but very, very interesting. I mean, probably the writing and some of the natural aesthetic sense comes through, but okay. First lord and the fifth, we saw that with Janis Joplin. She had an exchange between the fifth and the first, but here we have first and the fifth. Fifth house, trinal house, house of creative self-expression. We have Mercury, Venus conjunction. Isn't that just wonderful? And the sun, the career planet, is sitting there helping that along, so that's quite nice. I mean, Venus is Venus. Yeah, Venus is combust, but that's okay. She's got Mercury. Mercury, Venus is there. All right, seventh lord for career. Jupiter is in the second house of voice and how you make your own money. And of course, if you have Jupiter in the second, it's very nice. It will, you know, the second house, like your bank account, your piggy bank, your swear jar, your wallet, your Bitcoin, whatever it is, it's going to expand it. It's going to help grow it. Okay, so that's very, very nice. And if you have 11th lord in the first, it could help. Depends on lots of things, but it could definitely help that along a bit. Okay. Ninth lord in the fifth, again, trinal house, okay? Creative sign, voice, Taurus, ruled by Venus in the fifth house of creative self-expression. Such a good chart. So clearly a multi-talented person. You can very much see that. It's very, very excellent. And who have I got next? Jack White. I actually was going to do the white stripes, but that was like the first thing that I did. But I just felt like this was a really good example, and I wanted to leave, yeah, One of the members chose for a private life, so I felt like energetically I should just leave that alone. And actually, you know, it's really interesting. His chart reminded me of, I don't know if you should know. You should know Feist. Feist is amazing. So Feist has Saturn moon conjunction as well. And I really wanted to do, maybe I'll do it for entertainers. You know, Peaches and Feist were roommates. They're both from Toronto. And without any surprise, Peaches has a lot of Scorpio energy, obviously, and Feist, you know, amazing. I think she's an Aquarius, so something clearly about the moon can really help a person take them far when it comes to their creative expression. So again, we have Saturn debilitated, but helped by the moon in its own sign in the first house, and the moon is quite harshly hemmed. But that's okay. You know, maybe some aggression or agitation or after a lot of effort, rewards come in. Can also make it quite secretive, but quite nice. Okay, Mercury in his own sign. Gemini has a lot to do with motion, and Mercury, as we've mentioned in the first part, is like quick reflexes. So he's just like an insane musician. He's mad. And the South Node does best in the 12th house, okay? So South Node in the 12th house is the best thing that can happen to a chart because it belongs in this very spiritual place. It has a lot to do with spirituality and being detached from the world. So probably someone whose mind is just sort of better left alone and they can kind of figure out how they want to do things and figure it out themselves. Yeah, and what I put, Venus is second from the moon. So can you make your money? Venus in the second house, Venus is second from the moon. I thought, yeah, Venus in the second house. Venus in the second house, again, the house of the voice. That is pretty helpful. And to the surprise of absolutely no one, again, Venus is soul planet. So there's a lot to do with having Mercury, Venus, or Moon as at Makaraka with a lot of creative people, though I have also seen it from Jupiter from time to time, like I would say maybe 40% of the time. It does happen quite a bit. And depending on the type of creativity, you can also get that with Mars if they're not into like classical music or something like that. Bob Dylan. But honestly, Jack White's chart, very nice. Very easy to read, very straightforward. Bob Dylan, Venus, Mercury in Gemini. So Venus and Mercury in the 7th house, public place. Mercury in his own sign, excellent, in the sign of music halls, with the planet that rules music halls in a public place. So somebody to be seen, of course. Again, see, do you see what I mean? Moon, Saturn, I wonder what that's about. But anyways, Moon, the planet that rules music, in the house, in the house of work, but in the sign that has a lot to do with creativity. So that's very nice. And Moon exalted. Yeah, Moon is exalted. That's very helpful. We also saw that in the first part. And 10th Lord in the 7th is also good. 10th Lord in the 7th is good for career. Okay, wonderful example. We're getting somewhere now. We're seeing how quickly we can read these. Leonard Cohen. Mercury, Venus. Again, Venus is in the sign of Mercury. Mercury is in the sign of Venus. And would you look, the 2nd house of Leonard Cohen's one of my favorite people ever. I think he's a genius, you know, and if you have Mercury with Jupiter, can certainly expand mental faculties, okay? Just awesome. Again, First Lord, we saw this earlier as well in the last series. First Lord in the 2nd, I believe it was Julie London, I think. So you're taking the self, putting into the 2nd house of can you make your money through mental means, through your voice. Okay, it's in a creative sign, Libra. Moon is in Pisces. That's very nice. And look, Moon, Venus opposition. We had that in the first part with Sam from Greta Van Fleet. Moon, Venus opposition. Excellent. Excellent for music. I see this a lot. Actually, I see it more than people that have Moon, Venus conjunction. I don't know what it is. Maybe I just attract it. I don't know. But Moon, Venus opposing one another can make a person really into creative expression. All right, writing poems. I think Leonard, he has a book of poems. Music, whatever. Maybe you're good calligrapher, anything. Okay, but very nice for creativity. And 10th Lord for career, 10th Lord status in the 2nd of the voice. So quite nice for success once again. Oh, this has been wonderful. I know a lot of people requested Prince. How could you not? Prince's chart is really fantastic for so many things. I should have included it in some of the more, maybe around Halloween I'll bring it up or something, but it's such a good chart for, I think, so many more things than just music, but All right, Venus in Barani. Okay, so Lana Del Rey and Theo Von both have Venus and Barani in the 7th house. And Barani is quite mystical, it's quite spiritual, but it's an incredibly creative nakshatra. So if you have Moon and Barani, like I think Theo Von has it. So very like creative. I think somebody, I was reading the comments on one of his like videos that I watched on TikTok, and someone read, he's not even a comedian, he's a word artist, and that made me laugh. And I thought that's very, very Barani. But if you have Venus, which has a lot to, which is the arts, in Barani, in the 7th house, which is public and your trade, okay, excellent, excellent for artists. Moon in the 5th house of creative self-expression. Once again, we see Moon in Pisces people really common, Moon in Virgo people really common, brilliant. And Gemini is strong in his own sign, okay? So very nice chart for creativity, just beautiful. Nick Drake, I spent all week listening to Nick Drake. It was the full moon. I was not myself. It happens. I love Nick Drake. I just love him. Okay. First Lord in the 5th. All right. So First Lord, we have Cancer in the 1st house. Moon rules Cancer. We drop that into the 5th house of creative self-expression. We've seen this a few times. We've seen it with Janis, was it Janis Joplin? Yes. We've seen it again. I think it was Dolly Parton. And here we go, Moon with in the 5th house of creative self-expression. That's quite nice. What have I put here? Mercury, Venus. Yeah, Mercury, Venus conjunction in Ardra, the Howler. And 3rd Lord in the 1st as well of, you know, hard work, expressing oneself, an actual skill. And the 3rd house actually rules writing as well. So writing, very nice. All right, we've got that covered. I'm just making sure everything's here. The 12th house, you know, of inspiration in the 1st as well, Mercury. So pretty straightforward. So we've got that down. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to keep going. I've got to tackle actors. I know really, really popular one has been Timothée Chalamet. People have asked for Harry Styles. People have asked for, lots of people. I can't recall everybody, but I've got my list. It's under my laptop. If I pull it, the whole thing will fall, but I'll cover actors next, and of course actresses and all the fun stuff. Artists, you know, like Frida Kahlo, like cool stuff. People have requested just the coolest things. Somebody this morning messaged me and said, what about Anthony Gaudi? And I was like, yo, I love Gaudi. That would be great. So thank you for being here with me. I hope you've learned something. I hope you find it useful. I hope that you can look at your own chart and see if you've got any of these things. After the creativity series wraps, we'll go into something else. But let me know what you want to do. I had something in mind, which I clearly now cannot recall. So let me know what you think. Thank you all for being here. I love you all, and I wish you a wonderful rest of the week. Bye for now.